Okay, now we are on the record. We're recording, and then I'm gonna share the screen. Okay, we are sharing the screen now, and I'm gonna bring the poem. This is the poem. This is poem number 58 from Divan-e Shams, which is uh, Rumi has two major works: Divan-e Shams, which is a love poem, and Masnavi. Masnavi, which is in 6 books, in 6 volumes, and that is his Sufi teaching. This is his love poems, mostly addressed to God. And even he wrote the book. He named it after Shams, which was his guru, his qut, we say in Farsi, his guru. And he loved him so much that he named the book under his name. Uh, so I will read the Persian, the Farsi poem verses in order for you to get the music of the word, and then uh, we do the English. Now this is we do it on conversational matter. So if you can stop me anytime. I want to everybody get involved. Please ask question, give your comments, suggestions. Everything comes to your mind because the the Almighty, the Divine works through everybody. If I'm just a coordinator. We it God, God speaks through everybody, every soul. And it might something come to you, you're going to tell us, and we all learn something new and will elevate us, lift us up. That's what we need, right? We are here to, uh, we are here to uh, wake up our spiritual intelligence, intellect, right? That's what we're doing. So you might say something today that somebody gets something out of it and uh, lift lift them up, everybody. So that's good. رسید آن شه بیارایید ایوان را فرو برید ساعدها برای خوب کنعان را. The king arrived. The king arrived. King here is the symbol of divine. Beautify and decorate the home. You will cut your hand as soon as Prophet Joseph shows up. Now this is referring to a verse from Quran, uh, which we'll get to it. So let's just go with the. I don't want to lose the rhythm of the poem. چو آمد جان 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 نشاید برد نام جان به پیش جان چه کار آید مگر از بهر قربان را. When the life of the life of the life comes, it is not appropriate to pay attention to fake life. Our egoic life is less valuable than our divine and true internal life, but only to sacrifice. So the life of the life of the life, every one of us have it. That's the most important thing. He says we have to sacrifice. Here, Rumi says we have to sacrifice this fake, which is the ego, the fake life, the fake ego, the fake mind, the fake egoic mind, sacrifice it for the purpose of awakening and bringing up the life of the life of the life, right? Which is the soul, which is the God soul, as we mentioned, I just said a few minutes ago, has been. God says, I have blown from my spirit to all of you, to everybody. بودم بی عشق گمراهی درآمد عشق ناگاهی بودم کوهی شدم کاهی برای اسب سلطانی. Without true love I was lost, and of course suddenly love came to my rescue. Before love's arrival I was like a mountain full of ego and centeredness, right, John? How you say it? Did I say it right?
Yeah,
Se- Go ahead.
Self-centeredness.
self.
Centeredness. Thank you. Thank you. Who was that? Yeah, thank you so much. If I please, if I mispronounce, English is my second language. So if I mispronounce, please correct me. Thank you so much. Before love's arrival, I was like a mountain full of ego and self-centeredness. Then I became light like straw, and ultimately my straw-like being became food for the king's horse. Now here Rumi says, I am becoming like a food for the king's horse, means I am good, I'm suitable for the king, for the divine. Before I was lost, right? I was lost. I was off course and love came to my rescue. Okay. And I was like a straw. I'm sorry. I was like a mountain, which is ego. Mountain is the symbol of ego, because mountain is what? It's very it's very uh, uh, weighty, right? It has a lot of weight, and that's how we are in our ego, right? Very rough and tough, and we do not we don't change at all. We're very sturdy and solid and inflexible. That's the word, inflexible. Now you say I was like a mountain. I was egoic. I was uh, uh, now I became like a straw. I'm very I can move around easy. اگر ترک است و تاجیک است بدو این بنده نزدیک است چو جان با تن ولی کنن چو جان با تن ولی تن نبیند هیچ مر جان را اگر ترک است و تاجیک است بدو این بنده نزدیک است چو جان با تن ولی تن نبیند هیچ مر جان را. It is not important which race or country he belongs to. It is crucial that you are close to the divine, like the proximity of the soul to the body. Even though the body and soul are next to each other, the body cannot see the soul. Like us, we are from different places. Uh, uh, Mira is from Mongolia. I am originally from Iran. This and that. We are all, Qudsi is from Pakistan originally. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters if are you close to the divine or not. Your nationality, your origin, where you're coming from, it doesn't matter. It's a proximity. It's the crucial that you're close to the divine, like the proximity of the soul to the body, even though the body and soul are next to each other. So in Quran says that God says, the divine says, I'm closer to you than the vein of your neck. So now how come if God says and doesn't lie to us that God is so close to us, why we don't feel him? That's a good question to ask, right? And each of us has to answer it for ourselves. Why, if the divine is so close to me, I cannot feel? I cannot feel him. هلا یاران که بخت آمد گه ایثار رخت آمد سلیمانی به تخت آمد برای عزل شیطان را. Oh friends, congratulations, because we are lucky. It is time that we let go of our false and fake being. He says it's about time now. Rumi says it's about time right now to let go of our false and fake being. And he's congratulating us. Prophet Solomon, the symbol of the Lord, came to our hearts and established his residency in our being, and he will remove the devil that took over our being unjustly. So the devil took our being unjustly. We doesn't have to go that way. But Solomon came and got us back. Got us back. Kasoj entered the waiting room. I think it's too well played now. Oh. Okay. All right. بجه از جا چه می پایی چرا بی دست و بی پایی نمیدانی ز هدهد جو ره قصر سلیمان. Now he's talking to us. Stand up and start moving. He's telling us. Stand up and start moving. Wake up your spiritual intelligence. Why you're sitting and not making an effort and hard work. Rumi is telling us, you got to work in this for this. You have to put an effort. You have to work for it. Hard work. You have to work. This is work what we're doing, right? We're studying, we're trying to understand Rumi, which is connected to the source, to the divine, and learn from him. If you don't know, ask the wise bird, symbol of the spiritual master, the way to the Solomon palace. Now, if there is a spiritual masters in this world, and Rumi is one of them. Rumi is one of them. Rumi is a very good one, as a matter of fact. If you can access a live spiritual master, you're lucky. Go get and learn from them. It's very rare, very few and far right now, unfortunately. But if you can find one, you know, take advantage and learn from them. If you cannot find one, learn from Rumi. He was a master, he was a spiritual master, and he can help us. بکن آنجا مناجاتت بگو اسرار و حاجاتت سلیمان خود همی داند زبان جمله مرغان را. You should pray in any language that you know and ask for blessings and requests because Solomon, symbol of the divine, understands the language of all his creatures. He can understand all of us. Doesn't matter. You can whatever language you know, speak to the divine and ask for help, for blessing. Say, please bless me. Please show me the way. Please wake up my spiritual intelligence, intellect. سخن باد است ای بنده کند دل را پراکنده ولیکن اوش فرماید که گردآور پریشان را. All human beings, be aware that talk is like wind because it disturbs the concentration of the heart. But the divine advises us and tells us, bring together your scattered and fragmented heart. Rumi, at the end of his, almost a lot of his poems, he says, oh, I speak and I am speaking. Speaking, it doesn't help us. Speaking is distracting us. The language of heart is silence, right? Yeah. The language of heart is silence. That's why it says, listen. The first verse of Rumi of Masnavi. Listen, be quiet and listen. But Rumi says, I don't have any other tool. How I can negotiate, how I can communicate this with you guys. I am connected. I am in with the divine. But I'm coming down to help you, to take you with me. It's more fun to have all of us there together. Rumi was there. Rumi was on the other side. Rumi was with the divine. He says, I take my bucket there. It's empty. I fill it up with the wisdom and bring it back to you guys. He just loved us. He wants to take us with him to the palace of the divine. Okay? Any question, comment, concern that you guys have, you want to share, please?
I actually have a question.
Yes,
Why
ma'am.
is Rumi making references to King Solomon? What is that? Like, is he referring to the divine as King Solomon?
Yeah, it is divine, exactly. Because you look at how he says. Let's start with this. That's a good question. سلیمانی به تخت آمد برای عدل شد. Prophet Solomon, the symbol of the Lord. I say here as a matter of fact. I mean, it's on me. I learned from the masters. Came to our hearts and established his residency in our being. Yeah, it's a symbolic language. Qudsi John, Sufi poetry and literature is full of symbolism. Don't take nothing literal. The problem, if you take literal, you'll be off course, big time, because God is the ultimate wisdom, is the best poet, the best philosopher, the best writer that there is, right? The perfect one, right? And how he gonna communicate to us? Symbolism. That's the best way to talk, right? That's the best way you can communicate your uh, what you want to say. Symbolism. It's all symbolism. Yeah, Suleiman here is Almighty. Yeah, question. Go ahead, please, Will. You have a question, Will, because your hand is up.
Yeah, can I
I
add
can
a
see it.
comment?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, according to Islamic tradition, I believe Prophet Solomon had the ability to speak to animals, and so he was given so much power, more than the average human, and he was such a majestic ruler, and so he had these beautiful attributes, and so he kind of is the symbol of like majesty and beauty and knowledge and incredible things that he could do, miraculous things. So I see the symbolism behind using him and the metaphor behind using him.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Asina. Yes, go ahead, Will, please.
Of
Yeah, we lose. Your voice is, your microphone is not working, Will. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Please, would you please speak loud or just fix your fix your microphone, please? Thank you. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Is it better now?
Yeah, it's very good now. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so from my understanding with like the Solomon experience coming from a different of religion, kind of in line with what Hasina said, Solomon was gifted with all the wisdom in the world, right? Like the queens would come visit them. I think what I really like about Rumi, like he really encompasses beyond wisdom, like the divine. He always talks about the divine. What is the divine but the source of all that? Because even if Solomon had the material wisdom, like he could cast spells, you know, the stuff that we don't want to even invoke, because that can get kind of like, a lot of people have used that for just worldly gain. But Rumi takes it to a whole nother level. It's kind of like go beyond that, and it really touches an area of your soul or brain, which I like. I think that's why he made that. He added Solomon to that, to from what I understand.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Anybody else has any comment? Shall we go on then? Let's go see. Shall we go? Let's go to the next place. Okay. So let's go. Now, what we do here, we go verse by verse, and I follow and copy from a very dear uh, scholar who lives here in Los Angeles, and oh, he wants to Castillo. Let's see. Come back. Let's see what is this Castillo. Hello, Castillo. Can you please turn on uh your your camera? Hello. Okay. Where you want because you listen. Okay, that's fine. Okay. All right. So we're gonna do now. So what we do, we go verse by verse. Too late. Verse by verse, and we use basically Rumi, other Masnavi, and other Sufi resources, which are reference resources, which are very uh, trustworthy, and try to understand each verse. And as I said, as as I said before, this is coming from the spiritual intelligence. Has a lot of meaning to it. Has layer. We say each verse uh, uh, has infinite verses in Quran and in Masnavi and Ghazaliyat, which are all related to the divine. Has a lot of different references. رسید آن شه بیارایید ایوان را فرو برید ساعدها برای خوب کنعان را. The king arrived, the king arrived. King here is the symbol of divine. Beautify and decorate the home. You will cut your hand as soon as Prophet Joseph shows up. Rumi mentions the king twice, so we understand that it is very important that it is the time that we become alive to the divine. The time is now, ladies and gentlemen. Rumi said the time is now. Don't wait. The time is now. Then he asks us to clean and beautify our home, which is the space of the expanded heart. So the heart is the place that God that resides. There is a saying in Sufi literature that God says, there is not enough room for me on the earth. There is not enough room for me in the heavens and in the sky. There is enough room for me in human heart. God can place himself in your heart. And another place says, Rumi says, هر کسی در عجبی است تو هر کسی در عجب است و عجب من این است کو نگنجد به میان چون به میان میآید. Everybody is surprised about something, some issues. My surprise is how God can place himself in a human heart, which it seems like it's small, right? But it is infinity. You guys, all of us have infinite space in our heart. Just think about it. Infinite space in our heart. Then he asks us, uh, to clean and beautify our home, which is the space of the expanded heart. Then he tells us, as soon as we clean and polish our hearts, Prophet Joseph, who is hidden inside of us, will show up. So there is Prophet Joseph, which is the symbol of beauty. You know, he was a very handsome man, very spiritual. He was gifted with the beauty of the body and the soul, which is very rare. That's what he was. And he says there is a Joseph in all of us. But another place, Rumi says we are short selling our Joseph. We are short selling it, very, very, very cheap for small things, for worldly stuff, for money, for fame, for this, for that. That's what Rumi says. Therefore, here hands are the symbol of attachment, an imaginary and illusory being that we will cut when our hidden prophet Joseph shows up. See, everything is symbolic here. The hands are the symbol of the illusory being, ego. It is important to examine yourself and find out and ask yourself, do I experience this change and conversion inside my heart and being? Is the king are coming to my heart? Am I decorating and beautifying it for him? When you have a human guest, your sister, brother, your relative, your friend comes in, you clean up the house, right? You clean up the house, you put nice flowers here and there, you sweep the room, and you make it ready for them, right? Now the divine is coming. What you gonna do? What we gonna do for him? Do I see myself as a self and then God as another self? Or do I know my essence and true self are the same as divinity, and my ego does not allow me to observe and realize my true self, which is divine? So that's very important. We are from the same essence as God is. You know, God asks, God says, long time ago, at the beginning of time, when I created all the human beings, they came, everybody was in front of me. I asked them, "Amn't I your God, your Lord?" Rab, we say in Arabic. And we all said yes. But we have forgotten. Meaning that God says, "Aren't you the same essence as me?" And we all said yes. But now with our action, we say, no, we are not the same essence as you. We are much lower than you. That's what you're saying with our action. But here Rumi wants us to lift ourselves up and become the same essence as God is, which we are anyway. But we have to materialize it. There is a potential there. We have to bring it into reality. The second part of the above verse points to the chapter 12, verse 31 in Quran, which is as follows. This is the Arabic. I'm not going to read it to you. When she heard of their gossip, which is the queen of Egypt, she invited them, prepared a banquet for them, and gave each of them a knife. And she said, "Come out before them." And when they saw him, Joseph, They marveled at him, and they cut their hands and said, "Good God, this is not a human. This must be a precious angel." This is this this uh, this first verse referring "Furu Burri ha." You will cut your hand as soon as Prophet Joseph shows up. This is referring to this ayah, which I just told you. Chapter 12, verse 31. If you want to go and read more about it, you can do that. Therefore, if your Joseph comes out and enters your core and you become alive in God and see him, you will marvel at him. So if your divinity reveals itself to you, you will marvel at yourself and realize that what you had in yourself was the thing, and this new experience is like a precious angel. You put things at your core, but you really had a precious angel in your core. Now, in order to understand this, I have some diagram which I want to share with you, and Gotzia loved it last time when we talked about it. I know it's repeat for some of you guys, but please pay attention. It's good. Repetition is good. Okay, this is Farsi one. I'm sorry, should I brought this one? This is the Farsi one. Close this one. Okay. Okay, when we come to this word, before we come to the word, we are, when we are a soul, pure soul, original circle of nothingness, there is nothing in our core. When we say there is nothing in our core, means there is nothing but God. There's nothing but Almighty. There's nothing but the divine. That's what I mean by nothing. Adam, we say in Farsi. Adam. Rumi says Adam. Nothingness. Nothingness means that we empty our core from everything. From everything. Then we got to, later on we'll see it. So we got our sense of security, guidance, power, and intellect and intelligence from nothingness. Nothing was in here. Okay. Now let's go to this one. Let me close this one. Let's open this one. This is circle of identification. As soon as we come to this world, we put these things in our core. Everything that I can think of, myself, my spouse, the rest of my family, money, everything that I value, professions, social status, roles, hobbies, entertainment, friends, enemies, religious beliefs. Religious belief is a thing. Religious belief is a thing. Political and social beliefs is different from spirituality. Spirituality is an experience. Belief is a thought. It's a product of mind. You have to connect. We have to connect to the Almighty. We have to connect to the divine, not think about it. So if that happens, so when we come to the world, we put these things, we see people around us, we get socialized, and the society and the family, parents put these things in our core. So we get sense of security, guidance, power, intelligence, and intellect from these things, which is not supposed to be here. We should have nothing here, right? As we mentioned that. Now, this is what we want to go. Circle of nothingness. We want to push these things from the core outside. So there is nothing here. When nothing is here, then the one who should be here will show up, which is the divine. The divine will be on your core. So in that case, we get the sense of security, guidance, power, and intelligence and intellect from the divine. So these things are not are uh, we have to pay attention to them. We need the money, we need a job, we need hobbies, this and that, but it should not be in our core. That's the key. Should not be in our core. Should be outside of the core. Okay, so this is this one. So let me get rid of this one and go to the next. Okay, now we go to other. Okay, here, this is, I did it by hand. I'm sorry, I should change it. I'm lazy. I should do it much better and type it up. Hopefully someday I will do it. How did egoic mind come to into egoic mind? Is a synonymous to ego. Ego, nafs, we say in Farsi, nafs. So what this is, my dad taught me this. God bless his soul. He was a Sufi master. So God's spirit, we say, God says in Quran, I blew my spirit, my soul into everybody, into the soil. And that's how we were made up. We are made up of God's spirit plus human being, human body made up of soil and stinking mud. That's from Quran to stinking mud. So from the combination of these two, human being was created. And from when human being was created, two things came out of it. Two attributes, we say, soul and egoic mind or ego. Soul took after God's spirit, and egoic mind took after soil and stinking mud. So your mind, our ego is like soil. It's dirty, basically. I mean, it's not God's spirit. Egoic mind is I, my name, my belongings, my identity. It's from this side of us. And then from egoic mind, two attributes came out: lust and anger. What is lust? Lust for everything, pursuing likes. So we're pursuing likes and we're rejecting dislikes, which is anger. So that's the job of the ego. Ego is to do this. Okay. Now, when I don't want to say that ego is all bad. Ego is necessary, as a matter of fact. If you don't have an ego, you won't exist. Because my dad used to say, if you have no ego and you're very hungry and you get a food, you somehow you prepare food for yourself and you want to eat. If somebody comes and takes your food, you're not going to say anything if you don't have ego, and you die then. So ego is necessary to a point to keep us alive, for survival. Okay. This is attachment to temporary things, bound and being bound by time. When you have attachment at your heart, you get your sense of security, guidance, power, intellect, and intelligence from the attachment, which is at the core, right? You're going to have material intelligence. That's what we mentioned. Remember? Material intellect. And you are in past and future. People who have ego and have attachment in their core, they live in the past and future. They don't live in present. And then two other attributes that you're gonna get is resistance and judgment. You resist things that you don't like, and you make judgments left and right. This one is detachment. When you detach, this was attached. This is detached. You have nothingness in your core. Sense of security, guidance, power, intellect, and intelligence come from this core of nothing. And you have gratitude and abstinence. Gratitude is very important. That means you are spiritually alive. You have patience and abstinence. You have spiritual intelligence, spiritual intellect, which we talk. Says Rumi has this, right? Rumi brought it from the other side because his spiritual intelligence was working very good. And you have eternal present. You are always in the present time. You don't go to the past, you don't go to the future. And you detach from temporary things. That's where we want to go, guys. This is the myth of egoic mind. The myth of egoic mind. It's a myth. Ego is an illusion. It's a myth. It doesn't exist. It's a work of the mind. We have attachment, sense of security, guidance, power, intellect. It comes from there. Judgment, resistance. You saw that from the previous diagram. Now, this is what is important here. You're in past and future. Every ego creates problems and looking for them. Ego extends its life with creating problem. If there is no problem, there is no ego. So its ego wants to exist, creates problems, creating obstacles and looking for them, creating enemies and looking for them. And this is the truth of being human. This is where we want to go. Detachment and returning to this moment. There is nothing in the middle. How do you define resistance? Okay, resistance is resisting to what you don't like, what your ego doesn't like. That's how I define it. I don't know if you guys have any better.
Abstinence.
Oh, abstinence. I'm sorry. Abstinence means staying away from things which are not good for your spirit, which like attachments. So what you can hear. So you have abstinence means like in Islam we do fasting, right? Fast. This is abstinence. You're fast. You're staying away from food. You're staying away from the things which is going to mess up your spirit, basically, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Do it make sense, Mita?
Yes. So you wrote it next to gratitude and next to patience.
Yeah, because it means abstinence has to be there. Basically, it doesn't mean abstinence from gratitude, abstinence from prayer. Maybe that's. I'm sorry. Maybe it's misleading a bit, but I hope with my explanation it makes sense. It's abstinence in everything. You see, whatever that whatever that gets you far from the divine, you have to be abstinent. You have to move. We have to stay away from whatever it is. It just you define it for yourself. Abstinence is very important in the spiritual path because you want to stay away from things which brings you down, which basically puts stuff in your core. That's what it means. It's a very it's very much in Sufism. They talk about it a lot. We say in Farsi parhiz. Parhiz means staying away from things which are bad for your spirit. You're like abstinent from stuff which is bad for your health. Same thing. You don't eat bad food. You don't eat fatty. You don't eat too much sweet to stay healthy. There is such a thing for your soul too. You stay away from those things which is not good for your soul. Make sense, ma'am?
Yes, beautiful. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. You're welcome. Okay, this is where you want to be. The truth of being human. So we talked about this. You're gonna have eternal present. You have to have spiritual intelligence. You're gonna have it. If you're here, if there's nothing in your core, you will have joy without a cause. Most people are joyful because they get something. Oh, I made money today. Oh, I did this. This happened to me. I got recognition. Whatever you like. If you get it, it's going to bring joy. In this situation, there is no cause. Joy for you're joyful because you exist, basically. Because you're here. You're joyful because you're connected. Because you have a spiritual intelligence. You have a spiritual intellect. You're connected to the source. And the source is joyful. God and divine is all joy. All joy. If when you're joyful, you're close. When you're sad, you're away from the divine. Because that's why it brings the sadness to get you away. Stay away from pollutes our soul just like too much sugar pollutes. Oh yeah, exactly. That's a good job. All right. And then you have your enthusiasm for creation, ability to create. You become a creative person because you are close to the divine, and divine is the absolute creator. Everything is creation of God, right? Everything basically. And then you're detached from your detachment and returning to this moment and acceptance of the event of this moment. You're in an acceptance mode. You're accepting. That doesn't mean you don't change it. But first you have to accept it. Doesn't mean you accept it. You're in an accepting mode. It's like, let me tell you something. Let me give you the example of acceptance. God forbid you're driving and you get a flat tire. You can come down and kick the tire and curse the word. Oh my God! Look at this. Ah, yeah, blah, 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 and get mad, and you didn't accept it, the event. You can come down and look at it and say, oh, look what happened. Oh my God. No problem. You don't have AAA. Yes, call it. Maybe the guy Triple A is a nice guy, and you meet this guy. Oh, I met a nice guy today. He wasn't for a flat tire, I would have met this beautiful guy. You know what I'm saying? Or man, whatever. You see how it is? You are accepting. You're changing the tire, but you're accepting the event first, and then you change the tire. Or you can have hellish attitude and make yourself feel bad and miserable and curse the whole thing here and there. No you have to accept it basically. So better with a smile, attitude.
So, Mr. Akbar, you said that joy brings us close to the divine
Yes,
and sadness pushes us away.
yes.
So instead of sadness, we should practice acceptance of the circumstances.
Yeah, you should. Acceptance is not. See what I said. You see why sadness comes. Qudsi, Quran says, "La khawfun alayhim wa la hum yuhzanun." Right? There is no fear for them for the faithful. There is no fear, uh, and there is no sadness. Sadness. Why sadness comes to us? Because the divine wants to tell us you're off course. That's why sadness comes. You're off course. You are away from me. You have to be in my circle. You have to come close to me. You're away from me. You're moving away. That when sadness comes. But when you're in this situation, you have joy without a cause. Meaning it's not a worldly joy. It's a spiritual joy. I'm nothing against a worldly joy, but I'm not saying,
Is it like so spiritual joy would be contentment?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, contentment is good. And go with the acceptance too. But you will be joyful because divine is all joy. Divine, I mean, the Sufi says the divine created the world in joy. When he was in the joy mode, he it's a God looked at his own God. They say God looked at the mirror of nothingness and saw himself and fell in love with himself or herself and created the world. So it is God creation of the world is in the mode of intoxication. Intoxication. It's like an artist creating the best work. See, that's why we are from. God says, "You are from my essence. I blew my spirit in you, which you're me." So this is, I mean, it's world was created in a joy, due to joy, due to Creator's joy, my dear, joy. It's all joy. If you're not joyful, yeah, I mean, you seen spiritual people very much happy. I mean, I don't use happy because I put joyous. It's a better word. Joyous. Sadness can be egos. Go ahead, Bita, please read it for us.
Okay, yeah, it's spiritual intellect brings joyfulness. Sadness can be ego's obsession with itself to move us away from the divine. Sadness tells us we are off course because divine is all joy and contentment.
Yeah, thank you. Very good. So that's a good explanation, Otsi. Got it? Good job. All right. So we're done with this, and we are 2 more minutes. So let's go a little bit more further. اول و آخر تویی ما در میان هیچی که نیاید در بیان. You're the first, you're the last, and we are in between. Nothing of nothingness, who I cannot even talk about, and is not even worthy of description. That's the ego, ladies and gentlemen. It's nothing, and it's not worthy even about talking about description. This is from Masnavi, book 4, verse 3501. You are the first and you're the last, which means when we came, you were already here, but we did not exist. Therefore, the egoic mind did not exist, but our true self has been around forever. When Rumi says the king arrived, if we read this poem with our egoic mind, then we imagine there is There is I am an egoic mind, and God is also like a thing. Therefore, we are searching for a thing, and that is when we search for God as a form with a time and location or belief, and then we fall into the trap of illusion and error. It's not a thing. It's not uh yeah, it's not a thing. I hope it explained it good. This egoic mind is illusory and imaginary, and its intelligence is worldly and physical, and lives in an illusory and imaginary time. For God is always now, the past and future does not exist. Always is this moment. It's always this moment. Please remember that this is a good thing to remember. It's always this moment. There's no past and future. Past and future is the work of the egoic mind, a work of ego mind. For us who have an illusory and imaginary I, past and future exist. Therefore, the egoic mind is totally illusory and imaginary, and and his time is also illusory and imaginary. We need to get out of this trap as soon as possible, because the egoic mind is a destroyer, an extreme destroyer. It wants to self-destroy, and it creates pain, and creates additional and unnecessary work, and it creates additional and unnecessary problems. Sufis tell us that this is a temporary intelligence, and they compare it to thunder and lightning. It's temporary, like it's thunder and lightning is temporary, right? Comes and goes. Let me read this one because it relates to this. نیست نور برق بهر رهبری بلکه امر از ابر را که میگری. The light of the lightning is not for guidance on the way. Nay, it is a command to the cloud to weep. So it says that our worldly intelligence, our worldly and physical intelligence and intellect is not for guidance. See, when we show that we get the guidance from the attachment, that's when ego takes over, because ego puts those things in the core. برق عقل ما برای گریه است تا بگرید نیستی در شوق هست. Beautiful verse. The lightning of our intellect is for the sake of weeping, to the end that non-existence may weep in longing for real existence. We are non-existing, and we are longing and weeping to get to the real existence, which is the divine. Therefore, in the above verse, Rumi tells us the light of the lightning is not guidance and for your spiritual growth. It is only the minor intellect for you to manage your worldly affairs. But it has a message and command. The message is that the lightning of our minor intellect is for the sake of weeping, to the end that non-existence may weep in longing for real existence. We as egoic minds are non-existent and should always strive and long for true, genuine, and real existence. I think that's a good place to end. Any comments, questions, anything? I know for the new people who joined us, it's going to take a time for you guys to learn. You have to be patient with yourself to understand the symbols that Rumi uses and to understand his language. But I'm telling you, it's a worthwhile endeavor. It's worth to spend time and learn, because it's going to save you. It's going to make you a better person. It's going to it's going to bring you to joy, bring you to a higher place where you belong, really.
Mr. Akbar, I wanna share something with you that
Yes,
I
ma'am.
read a week ago, and it has to do with the nothingness. The quote goes as, I thought I was something, so then life turned me into nothing. But in nothingness, I found everything.
Oh, beautiful. That's such a beautiful. Good job. Say it again. Say it again. Say it again, please.
I thought I was something, and then life turned me into nothing. But in nothingness, I found everything.
Exactly. Very good. Yeah, I heard the same thing from another Sufi teacher. Beautiful. Very good. Yeah, this is the nothingness brings you everything. Exactly. That's a good point. Very good. MashaAllah, you guys, you are got to see in the right path, my dear. Good job. Anybody else has a comment, suggestion, anything?
Hello. I wanted to point out like what I typed on the message. You know, when you mentioned that the verse of Rumi on the poem about Joseph, about his life.
Hmm.
And I think it's very important to be honest on the experience of becoming like more aware, because it is sometimes painful when you start, I believe. Um but I think that brings joy. When I typed in like Joseph's story, for example, towards the end where he was able to conquer, he was able to lead, but he did go through multiple temptations. And I think it's important to acknowledge that fact of the journey, because sometimes when you go on journeys like this, you can always claim it's always happy, always great. But there is healthy suffering involved, is kind of what my point was.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Healthy. There is miserable suffering and there is healthy suffering. Absolutely right. And healthy suffering is necessary. If you, it's like you're sick and the doctor says you don't have to eat sugar, say, and you love sugar, so you are in misery, but that's healthy misery, right? Because that is keeping you healthy. Same thing here. If you want to you want to have a healthy spirit, his soul, you have to do what it takes, and that's what we're here. Healthy suffering and unhealthy. Yeah, absolutely, yes, Beatles. Yeah, it is good. So it is good suffering and it's bad suffering. So let's always go toward good suffering, and God will help us to go through it because it's good suffering, and we need to go through that. But after you've gone through that, because you know that's the suffering which has a value, has a fruit, you will be lifted. But miserable suffering, what's the but? There is nothing to it. You bring it down, you become more miserable, sicker, never ending. But yep, thank you. Good point. Anything else? Mira, you didn't say anything. Maria, how do you feel? What do you think?
Um,
Maria.
it's me. It's me or who?
Yeah, you.
Oh, Mira. Okay.
Mira, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's fine. Um, I mean, I'm totally like understand. Even not really like, because it's this how to say the property. How to say this English? Pro. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
Poetry.
Yeah,
Wait.
poetry, exactly. Yes, even I'm not really understand this because language barrier, but I know what exactly talking about. So you know why? Because I had real experiences myself. I didn't like, it's so interesting. I didn't read about any book. I didn't see, nobody told me or teach me. I just like soul awakening, I think. I don't know how, like, I mean, if I see these words with another friends or something, they were like, are you crazy? What are you talking about, right? But I definitely feel like this whole connection with some people, like soul family, like soul mission or something. So I have this feeling. And then the Rumi talking about is exactly like what I feel. It's really are. And then I don't know how to use my language for explain, but I have deeply connection with, and I totally understand what they are talking, and I feel inside, not in, sometimes like you recognize the soul things, cannot use language for explain or logic, right? Yeah, it's like more 5D level, I think. yeah, this is my thoughts so far.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
How about you, Aliyah? You want to share your thoughts or comments, everything? Anything?
Yeah, I like the diagrams. That kind of
Oh,
I
good.
guess I'm a visual learner, so that was very helpful. Um, I come from a Muslim background as well, so seeing the Quran, the stories about Joseph in this way, that was very helpful as well. I kind of thought about like the times that we live in is so social media, Instagram and TikTok and all of that. I was thinking kind of like celebrities, like all because they're a celebrity, all of a sudden they're a celebrity. Now we're supposed to give them all of this attention. And that just really removes us from things like this spiritual, um, time to study, time to pray, time to be with family, the things that matter. I think we're getting a little too far away in a lot of regards. And so that was really good to see that and try to take those words into today, and they still are easily relatable.
Beautiful. Thank you, ma'am. Anybody has anything else to say? All right. So let me